There, having said that, this is something I seldom do. We as a country are taking this seriously. It's still the Democratic Party. Keep your eyes on the prize.
Hello, everybody, and welcome, and Happy New Year to you. First time we've been together this year, and this 2021, it's got to be better than 2020. But we're going to be talking about some of the lingering effects. Oh, this is great. Hold on. How does that happen when I turn everything down? I don't get it. Okay. All right. Excuse that. So anyway, we got lingering effects of 2020, though, and we'll be talking about that. Of course, the main thing to talk about, there's a lot happening in the next, I would say, 48 hours we're talking about. Of course, as we are, if you're watching this live, until 7 o'clock tonight, the people of Georgia are deciding, who wins a couple of Senate seats. And right now, the polling has the Democrats very slightly ahead. Both Democrats are ahead. In case you're new to all this, there's a lot in the balance. If both Democrats win in the state of Georgia, the balance of the Senate will change. It will be in the Democrats' favor. It'll basically be 50-50. But the president of the Senate is, of course, the vice president of the United States, if you're familiar with the Constitution. So the deciding vote would always be Kamala Harris. So this is a good thing if you're a Democrat. This is a good thing if you want to see things get done and if you want to see Mitch McConnell made irrelevant. But we'll see what happens there. We'll take a look at those polls later. But of course, the big story out of Georgia is the fact that the president of the United States basically was about as subtle as Tony Soprano when it came to begging for votes from the Secretary of State of Georgia. And I think we'll start off just by playing a couple of those clips. By the way, Mario's with us. Hello, Mario.
Hello, Mo.
Have we got phones today?
We do not have phones at the moment.
Okay.
I can get them fired up.
Okay. All right. Well, so I'll give you that number in case we do get things fired up. And that number is 330-595-1600. Want to hear what you're thinking about in all this. Oh, by the way, and I might as well tell you this. I was going to wait till Thursday, but I will tell you that the Mo Ray Show is returning to 570 WKBN this coming Sunday. I will be on from 10 till 1, my old time slot. So I'll be a double threat. I'll be here. I'll keep doing this. And I will also get back into my radio groove. I really want some of you, if you're not in church or maybe on your way back from church, give me a call on Sunday because basically, you know that 570 has become just almost a total right-wing 24/7 situation. So I'm going to be an oasis of, let's just say, I like to think of it as an oasis of sanity in what has become pretty much just a total right-wing operation. I think there are two sides to everything, and I think this is a polarized country. The sad thing is you're not hearing the other side, and that's why I call this show The Other Side of Talk. That's why I call the radio show The Other Side of Talk Radio, because ever since the end of the Fairness Doctrine, talk radio has been overwhelmingly dominated by the right-wing point of view. And there's obviously another point of view out there. If there wasn't, Joe Biden wouldn't be the president-elect. But let me take a look at this. Tim says, happy 2021. Thank you, Tim. And Debbie says, happy you're back, Mo. WKBN Sunday. That is correct. Sunday, 10 a.m. Be there or be square. And let's see. Barbara says, good evening, Mo and company. And good evening to you, Barbara. And glad to know somebody's paying attention to what we're doing here. But let's get right into the clip. And this is from the Washington Post. And I will see, sometimes I have trouble with Washington Post content here, but this is secondhand, so this should play. And this actually is like a 4-minute and 20-second clip. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'm going to play you about 2.5 minutes, give or take. So you tell me if this doesn't sound like a little bit of extortion on the part of the president. This is unbelievable, and I'm sure you've probably heard it by now, but if you haven't, here it is. This is President Trump talking to the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger of Georgia.
Based on all of this, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, Brad. You know, I mean, having a correct. The people of Georgia are angry, and these numbers are going to be repeated on Monday night, along with others that we're going to have by that time, which are much more substantial even. And the people of Georgia are angry. The people of the country are angry. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
Now, do you think it's possible that they shredded ballots in Fulton County? Because that's what the rumor is. And also that Dominion took out machines. That Dominion is really moving fast to get rid of their machinery. Do you know anything about that? Because that's illegal.
This is Ryan, Germany. No, Dominion has not moved any machinery out of Fulton County. We're having.
Well, but have they moved? Have they moved the inner parts of the machines and replaced them with other parts?
No.
You sure, Ryan?
I'm sure.
You should want to have an accurate election. And you're a Republican.
We believe that we do have an accurate election.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have, not even close. You're off by hundreds of thousands of votes. You know what they did and you're not reporting it. That's a criminal offense. And you can't let that happen. That's a big risk to you and to Ryan, your lawyer. That's a big risk. But they are shredding ballots, in my opinion, based on what I've heard, and they are removing machinery, and they're moving it as fast as they can, both of which are criminal fines, and you can't let it happen, and you are letting it happen. I'm notifying you that you're letting it happen. So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
And we're back. And, well, there you go. I mean, come on. It's kind of like one of those gangster movies, like, nice state you got there. Hate to see anything happen to it. Come on, man. The president of the United States is begging the Secretary of State to find thousands of votes for him. It's beyond the pale. I'm glad a few Republicans are calling this out. By the way, for the record, they're going to put on their little show tomorrow. There's going to be the confirmation in the Congress tomorrow. And of course, a relative handful of Republicans are going to protest Biden's winning. And that's what's going to take place tomorrow. But our own, of course, both our senators, I'm surprised. I knew Sherrod Brown wouldn't be a part of this because he's a Democrat. But the Republican for this state, Rob Portman, is not participating in that protest. He thinks everything is above board. Let's move on. And that's what's going to happen. I think they'll get about 2 hours to make their cases, both Senate members and House members. And once that's done, the confirmation will take place because the majority is not going to go for this. This is a stunt. This is pretty close. Some people are even calling it sedition. The people have made their decision. The votes have been certified by all 50 states. The president has lost over 60 court challenges now. The Supreme Court turned 2 cases away. It's over. Tomorrow should be the end of it. But of course, as crazy as things are, it won't be. But to all your friends who are still wringing their hands and putting posts up saying stuff like, keep fighting, Mr. President, you can tell them to go pound salt as of tomorrow. It will be confirmed. And by the way, of course, the Proud Boys and all those lovely people are going to be gathering in Washington to protest this as well. We'll see if they can keep the peace, because the mayor of Washington, D.C. has already called the National Guard in just to keep things on the straight and narrow. There's also been a definite order that these guys, who a friend of mine calls the U.S. Gravy SEALs, don't bring their guns to the nation's capital for their protest. I don't think you need an AK-47 slung over your shoulder to make your point. So let them protest. It's their First Amendment right. But it's just ridiculous. I think the president's behavior since the election has been reprehensible. And sadly, the behavior of many Republicans has been pretty sad, too, because they've either been silent or they have been right there with him. By the way, while I'm talking about things that are sad, here's the other thing. This president not only has diminished the office of president, but he has diminished some of the things that go with it. That is, handing out awards. Of course, he gave the Medal of Freedom, Congressional Medal of Freedom, to it's the Presidential Medal of Freedom, but he gave that to Rush Limbaugh. I don't know. I mean, we're talking, this medal has gone to people like Desmond Tutu and, I'm trying to think of some of the people, Mother Teresa, people like that. And yet the president decides he's going to give an award to Jim Jordan, the representative and attack dog from Ohio, and also to Devin Nunes of California. Nunes became famous, or I should say infamous, early in the Mueller hearings because he was part of that. And then he would run to the White House at night and tell them what went on. And they weren't supposed to be given that information at that point in time. But that just made him a conservative hero. I don't think being a presidential lapdog qualifies you for any medal. And it's sad. This president is basically awarding his capos for protecting the mob boss that is Donald Trump. That's not what that medal's about. But that will happen. And furthermore, let's listen to the rest of what the president had to say, though. Wait a minute. Let me look at some comments. Let's see. Might scroll down. Okay, let's see. Michael says, good to hear you are back. Happy New Year. Thank you, Michael. And Michael, let's see. And Tim says, let's see. DT said there would be more by Monday night, huh? Today's Tuesday. Did I miss something new? Oh, no, Tim. It's just like that Mexico paying for the wall or the health care plan that should have been out 3 or 4 months ago. We're still waiting for that, aren't we? Or the middle class tax cut that was coming before the midterms that never happened. As I like to say, Trump says a lot of things, many of them not true. But let's see. Good afternoon, Moray, says DL. And Michael also says Trump should be brought up on criminal charges. The evidence is clear as his voice on the tape. He needs to be indicted on federal or state criminal charges. Only a criminal would complain about criminal actions. Well, actually, there is some talk. Some people are saying impeach him again. It's a little late for that. I mean, we're a little more than 2 weeks away from Inauguration Day. What they could do is censure the president. Might as well put another blemish on his record. His legacy will be one of corruption. His legacy will be one of trying to obfuscate the Constitution. That's the man who's sitting in the White House currently. And I refuse. Well, no, I won't say I refuse. It's like I just can't understand otherwise intelligent, decent people who are still supporting this man, even when he's caught in the act doing things like that. And let's remember, the people who are upset that this tape was leaked to the Washington Post. I support the Secretary of State of Georgia because the president of the United States had no business calling them up, trying to twist their arm to get more votes. And by the way, this is a president who we know doesn't believe in science when it comes to climate change and even COVID-19. But apparently this president is also not very good at math. Even if he were to overturn the state of Georgia, that would only gain him 16 electoral votes. So he would still lose. So why he's making this fuss, why he's got senators and congressmen supporting him on this fool's errand is beyond me. But let's get back to the rest of his comments. And once again, this is from the Washington Post.
So tell me, Brad, what are we going to do? We won the election, and it's not fair to take it away from us like this. And it's going to be very costly in many ways. And I think you have to say that you're going to re-examine it, and you can re-examine it, but re-examine it with people that want to find answers, not people that don't want to find answers. For instance, I'm hearing Ryan, and he's probably, I'm sure, a great lawyer and everything, but he's making statements about those ballots that he doesn't know. But he's making them with such, he did make them with surety, but now I think he's less sure, because the answer is they all went to Biden. And that alone wins us the election by a lot. You know, so.
Mr. President, you have people that submit information, and we have our people that submit information, and then it comes before the court, and the court then has to make a determination. We have to stand by our numbers. We believe our numbers are right.
And we'll leave that there. I think that's enough. You get, you know, as I said, I'm sure you've seen coverage and you're familiar with this, but you see what he's doing there. And he's making these veiled threats in a way. There's a lot going on there, and there could be legal action. And I do hear the Secretary of State of Georgia talking about doing something legally. So we'll see what happens. This is not, I've said it before, and I'm misquoting this, but I'm paraphrasing this quote. But basically, and it was by a guy named Robert Burns, a poet. And he said, I expected, and this is not the exact quote, but it's the spirit of it. I expected the worst, but the worst was far worse than I expected. And that would pretty much sum up the Trump presidency for me. I expected this guy to be a little bizarre because he was bizarre on the campaign trail. But I did think he would probably come around once he got in office. He only got worse as time went on. And I think he's gotten extremely, just totally unhinged since the election. Because in the world of Donald Trump, you never lose. I know I keep repeating the Roy Cohn story where Cohn told him that if you're playing checkers and you're losing, just knock the table over and say you won. As I've said before, that's what you're watching. The president of the United States is trying to knock over a table called democracy and trying to walk away a winner when he was a loser. And I hate to keep repeating the facts, but they are facts. 60 cases. Just as recently as today, the state of Georgia refused to overturn the election. 60 legal attempts in multiple states. In Georgia, by the way, where the president makes it sound like they haven't been doing their job, they've had 2 recounts so far. Not to mention, they did signature checks on all the ballots. Georgia is a pretty big state. Mario, are you familiar with this? How many faulty signatures would you guess they found in the whole state of Georgia?
Oh my goodness, the whole state. I mean, statistically, you have to think at least 1.
Well, I'm going to double that. They found 2. They found 2 bad signatures in the whole state of Georgia. So, I don't know, Mr. President, where's your evidence? By the way, that's what a lot of the judges that your people have gone before are asking. Where is your evidence? These people can go on Fox News and OAN and Newsmax and spew their nonsense. But even they know better than to go before a judge under oath and to tell these lies because they have nothing to back it up and because they know they could probably lose their law licenses. And I'm kind of really hoping that there is some legal action taken by these voting machine companies. Did you hear what Trump was saying there in the clip where he's talking about, have they taken some of the parts out? Now that, you know, they've got all these weird conspiracy theories with no evidence, but they keep throwing this stuff out there and the hardcore Trumpers are just eating it up like it's gospel. And I would just ask you, in a world of common sense, don't you think at least one of those judges would have said, oh, I see what you're talking about here. Let's take this somewhere. 60 judges said, you got nothing. And I say again, twice the Supreme Court turned him away. A Supreme Court with 3 Trump picks. How likely is that if the evidence is so obvious? So I'm just talking to the intelligent people in the audience. Those of you that still think he's got a shot, you're going to be so disappointed on January 20th. But let me get back to comments. Let's see. Well, thank you, Barbara. Barbara says, preach, Mo. Tim says, the most frightening thing to me is after 4 years of this bizarre presidency, tens of millions of Americans still believe he is their hero against DC corruption. Exactly. When he is DC corruption. You know, I mean, I'm sorry. Show me another president, even Nixon, who called trying to turn over elections, kind of, you know, like, hey, can you find me a few votes? I mean, where the heck are you supposed to find those votes, Mr. President? In his back pocket somewhere? So, but anyway, hold on. Stay with me. Here's another bit of interesting stuff. And I did mention Newsmax. In case you're not aware what's going on now, because Fox News does have a real news division, and they've acknowledged that the current president of the United States lost the election. Oh my gosh, you can't do that in Trump world. So a lot of the Trump people have gone over to Newsmax and One America News Network. I said, oh, you know, I've seen it both ways, OAN or OANN. Either way, basically, they're propaganda organizations that are telling Trump supporters what they want to hear. In this case, for example, the Secretary of State of the state of Georgia is Brad Raffensperger. Well, wait a minute. Dick Morris, remember him? Oh, all these old neocons keep recycling. But Dick Morris had a major revelation on Newsmax the other night, but there's a problem with it. But this is from the Greg Kelly show on Newsmax.
But there's something else that I do need to talk to you about that's breaking news. You remember Brad Raffensperger, the Georgia Secretary of State, who has been standing in the way of recounts and refused to verify signatures and kicked the Republican inspectors out of the vote and the counting. It turns out, which is a story we're breaking tonight, that his brother, Ron Raffensperger, is the chief technical officer for Huawei's Enterprise Storage Solutions Company.
Okay.
And Huawei, as I guess you know, has been sanctioned by the American government that has prohibited anyone from selling its semiconductors. And it's almost destroyed their business. And here you have the brother of the Secretary of State of Georgia who works for them and lives in Sichuan, China.
Okay, so, I mean, okay, those all may be how they are, but do we have any evidence that the two are connected, that he's working on behalf of his brother working for the Chinese government?
Absolutely none.
Okay.
Draw your own conclusion. But this fact has not surfaced in public and needs to surface. We're not just talking about a Chinese company. We're talking about the central arm of the government in trying to spy on people throughout the world. It's why Britain refuses to allow them in, the U.S. refuses to allow them, and we will sanction any company that has anything to do with Huawei.
Well, okay. And by the way, did you notice where he said, draw your own conclusions? Because I meant to bring that up in Trump's comments. When Trump is talking about all these votes that are missing, a couple of times he said, I heard a rumor, or he said, in my opinion. Once again, he's not talking about facts. He's listening to the crazy talk out there and he's running with it. But he can't prove anything he's saying. And as I said, the courts have been very clear that whatever he's claiming, whatever evidence he's claiming, doesn't stand up in court. So there you have that. But this is very interesting. You heard that. So they're breaking this story about the brother of the Secretary of State of Georgia. I'm going to, let's see. Yeah, we better go. I'm sorry, I'm messing with this now. Let's cut to the chase. Okay. And I'm going to, can we blow it up just a little? Or I'll just read it off the screen. But I'll leave. Okay, that's much better. Okay, this is from the Associated Press. AP's assessment, false. Raffensperger's office confirmed to the Associated Press his brother is not Ron Raffensperger, who works for Huawei, pardon me. The facts: social media posts and a fictitious story circulating online falsely claim that Raffensperger has a brother named Ron who works as an executive for the Chinese tech giant Huawei. Well, Roethlisberger does not have a brother named Ron. His office confirmed Wednesday. His office said he has 3 sisters and a brother. A 2018 obituary that the AP reviewed also confirmed his brother is not named Ron. So anyway, I'll go a little further. Social media posts making the false claim suggest that the relationship should be investigated because of Huawei's connection. The company has been at the center of rising tensions between the U.S. and Chinese technology over security. President Donald Trump's administration has imposed restrictions on Huawei, cutting off access to U.S. companies, blah, blah, blah. We got that. But the bottom line is this. Oh, wait a minute. Now, he even tweeted this. I didn't realize that. It says, now it turns out that Brad R's brother works for China, and they definitely don't want Trump. So disgusting. Trump tweeted in his inaccurate tweet. So now you know. So if your crazy uncle or grandma or grandpa is saying they're done with Fox News, this is the garbage they're flipping over to. I know I'll wear it out, but as I like to say, they don't want the truth. They want the Trump. And simple, when you have Dick Morris talking about a brother who doesn't even exist, that should tell you about the credibility of Newsmax. And OAN is even worse than Newsmax. But that's where Fox News viewers are going, because Fox News is actually occasionally telling the truth. And, the people who coined the phrase alternative facts can't handle the truth. But let's keep on keeping on. Here's something interesting, too. And it kind of talks about the Republican grievance mentality. These poor victims, they've been canceled. They've been cut off by society, even though, guess what? In the last election, they actually gained seats in the House. They actually, and now here we are in a neck and neck situation. This senatorial situation shouldn't have been like it is. According to most predictions, a lot of those Republican senators should have been gone. People like Susan Collins and others. But it didn't go that way. And that's why all the marbles are really being counted tonight in Georgia. Georgia is a big deal because it will affect the way this country is run for at least the next 2 years. So let's hope for the best in Georgia, because, of course, midterms will come in 2022 and anything could change. But the great thing about if Warnock and Ossoff can win tonight in Georgia, we may not know tonight. This is another situation with a lot of mail-in ballots, but we should know by the time I see you again on Thursday. But if these two guys if they both win, then the balance of power shifts dramatically. Mitch McConnell becomes irrelevant, and the new Senate Majority Leader will be Chuck Schumer. Maybe something can actually get done in the first 2 years, at least, of the Biden administration. But listen to these crybabies. This is why. So this is from Fox and Friends, and this guy's explaining why these guys have every reason, that is the conservatives, have every reason to be skeptical because they've been treated so badly. Let's take a look at this from Fox News.
And sometimes Pete and I pretend to be friends on television, but we are friends sometimes off camera as well. We were having a steak last night talking about this, and this is how I feel. I think Republicans, conservatives can be forgiven for their skepticism, because whether or not an election was rigged, it certainly feels like society is rigged right now. From the complete squelching of dissent on college campuses, inside the media institutions, to being lied about the Hunter Biden story, to watching President Trump impeached, every step of the way watching President Trump undermine his legitimacy question, that when you deal with that for not just 4 years, but decades, you start to think, if not an election, the entire society is rigged against people who hold my values. And at some point, Steve Ainsley and Brian, you begin to understand that kind of skepticism.
Especially at the end when you're told, no, you can't question it. There will be no questioning at the end. The more you're told not to question, the more you're told not to challenge, the more people feel like, something's not right here.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, something's not right. And what's not right is what the president has been doing since Election Day, by denying that he lost. But he continues to do so. And like I said, I really think the last real possible challenge he has is to let these senators and representatives make their comments in opposition to the Biden win, and they are allowed to do that by the Constitution. The president of the Senate, of the Congress, as I said, will be, as per the Constitution, will be Mike Pence. And let's remember, even before all this came up, Pence is leaving the country once he's done being vice president. He and his wife are moving overseas somewhere. So maybe he'll do the right thing, which I believe he will. But I don't know. It'll be the first time in history that he didn't just confirm the results. Basically, we've done it this way, for generations in this country. The election was held. The votes were certified by the states. We've gone through all that. The Electoral College vote was certified. Mitch McConnell, the Speaker of, the Senate Majority Leader, has even said yes. He's confirmed that yes, Joe Biden will be the next president, and for that, he's also he's garnered some disgust from the president. See, Donald Trump, I keep comparing him to a mob boss, but he really wants that loyalty. He really wants that loyalty. I actually watched Godfather Part 2 the other day, and there was so much of the loyalty angle in there in the mob. And you scratch my back and I scratch yours. That's how he thinks the government would work, or should work, I should say. But that's not how the founders wanted this government to work. We have rules. We have regulations. We have checks and balances. And this president is trying to ignore those checks and balances. Just checking. Okay, I'll tell you what. Real quick here, I want to move on to the next thing. And this is more like, this is from a group called ACT TV, but this is just showing the two-faced nature of these Republicans. Look at these comments from Republicans back in 2016 when they were actually telling the truth about Donald Trump.
I want to talk to the Trump supporters for a minute. I don't know who you are, and I don't know why you like this guy.
Whatever he does, he accuses everyone else of doing. The man cannot tell the truth, but he combines it with being a narcissist. A narcissist at a level I don't think this country's ever seen.
And my concern is that he would grab up that power and really treat the country as sort of his little bully fiefdom.
Donald Trump is everything I taught my children not to do in kindergarten.
He's been exploiting working Americans for 40 years.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot.
He says he's for the little guy, but he's actually built a lot of his businesses on the backs of the little guy.
Donald Trump the other day said that, quote, if he tells a soldier to commit a war crime, the soldier will just go do it.
And I don't think Donald Trump has even read the Constitution, knows what's in the Constitution.
A toxic mix of demagoguery and mean-spiritedness and nonsense.
I just cannot support Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is a delusional narcissist and an orange-faced windbag.
Donald Trump is a con artist.
He doesn't know the difference between truth and lies. He lies practically every word that comes out of his mouth.
I think he's a kook. I think he's crazy. I think he's unfit for office.
Once again, that's from a group called ACT TV, and I can't argue with anything there. See, I mean, isn't it amazing? And look at some of those people who went on to actually work for the president. Rick Perry went on to work Department of Energy, I believe it was. Of course, Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is the lowest of them all. Here's a man who accused his dad of trying to assassinate JFK and who called his wife ugly. And yet Ted Cruz can't seem to keep his lips off Donald Trump's rear end. So I have zero respect for Ted Cruz. But there's Kellyanne Conway even, who, by the way, since she's left office, she said it looks like Joe Biden will be president. Yeah, you can tell the truth now. You're not working for the guy anymore, Kellyanne. You can hang up the alternative facts and just tell the truth. But like I said, there you have Pompeo. There you have, all these guys who told the truth about Donald Trump, who called him what he really was in 2016, changed their tune and got in line right behind him. In fact, some of those people are even defending his ridiculous battle against democracy that's going on right now. So just a sad situation. If the Democrats win tonight in Georgia, this will be the ultimate karmic justice, because here's the president who is telling them not to trust the system and that how corrupt it is. So some Republicans are not voting because they're taking the president at his word. Well, why you would take the word of a guy who's told at least 20 to 25,000 lies in 4 years, I don't know. But like I said, wouldn't that be just the perfect karma if they don't vote, and if the Democrats emerge victorious, and if the balance of power is shifted? I look forward to that. Pay attention, folks. Well, we should have at least an inkling of how things are going. But the main thing you've got to look at in Georgia is that more people came out for this election, these elections, I should say, than for the presidential election. But history is not on the side of the Democrats. 7 of the last runoffs, 7 of the 8 runoffs that have been held in the past in Georgia have been won by Republicans. And so there's a lot going on there. But I'm going to just hope that the president's behavior has really motivated some people to make a change. And we'll see what happens. But like I said, I'm really interested in seeing how this goes tonight. Cross your fingers, folks, because like I said, I think I would love to see Mitch McConnell made irrelevant. I would love to see that. Let's see. Michael says, as with his show, The Apprentice, the show's ratings, as well as President Trump's, are bad and have been canceled. Well, to be fair, Michael, they were even talking about possibly bringing The Apprentice back. So apparently, even though he's waging this battle, I think he knows that. And by the way, the creator of The Apprentice would be on board with it. I don't even know, man. If I were NBC, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, but we'll see what happens. But the ratings were pretty good. That's what I was going to say. They weren't great, but he was doing all right. But I stopped. I never really watched the show that much, but I stopped altogether in 2011, or was it 2012, when he started his birtherism attacks on Obama. I just said, I'm done with this dude. And there's no way I ever thought he'd be president of the United States, but here it is. But the American people decided to fix that. Thank you, America. Let's see what else we got. Let's take a look at those Georgia polls we were talking about. And this is from Nate Silver's group. And that is, of course, hold on just a minute. That's 538. That's Nate Silver's polling organization. Pretty small there. Can we... Maybe we'll look at one at a time. Let's do it that way. Can we do that? All right, let's look at, first of all, this is David Perdue, the Republican, running for re-election against Democrat Jon Ossoff. And if you'll look, and once again, the margin of error is 3 points. So this is basically a dead heat. But if you look there, Ossoff is ahead only by 1.8 points. Let's scroll down to the other one. If you look at Kelly Loeffler versus radical liberal Raphael Warnock, as she likes to say, Warnock has actually had 2.2 points. So not much margin of error. But they were saying the turnout will be the most important thing in all this. And as I said, the turnout has been dramatic. And I know Republicans are always talking about identity politics, but I think that we are in this polarized society defined by our identities. And if you'll look, what you have here is a big move by the youth voters, big move by black voters, and suburbanites who have really had enough of this nonsense and they're going to try something different. And I think really most vulnerable will be Loeffler, because, pardon me, Loeffler, that's how she pronounces it. Kelly Loeffler really came across as a total robot during the debate she had with Warnock, and her attacks on him have really kind of had the reverse effect. She's actually energized the black community. This is what Trump never understood, his attacks on Obama. He did gain a few percentage points with black males this time around, but overall, most blacks did not vote for him. You don't gain any popularity points with black people by constantly bashing the first black president, but he just couldn't figure that out. And you see what happened with the black vote and Donald Trump. But let's see what's up next. Oh, this was Trump in Dalton, Georgia last night. He went, I don't even know where, that's kind of out in the sticks. He got away from the Atlanta area where, and by the way, it's amazing, the population of Atlanta, and that's where a lot of this will be decided. But you've got to also look at those rural votes, which will be Trump votes. But this is what the president had to say last night.
Well, I want to thank you very much. Hello, Georgia. By the way, there's no way we lost Georgia. There's no way. That was a rigged election, but we're still fighting it, and you'll see what's going to happen. We'll talk about it, and I just want to thank you. This is some crowd. You know, Biden was here today also. They had 14 people in 3 cars. No, there was no way, and I just want to thank you. You know, I've had 2 elections. I won both of them. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. All right. And see, that's the other lie. I mean, I don't know how many people were at the Biden rally because, once again, he's still ridiculing Biden for practicing social distancing and having these drive-in rallies as opposed to trying to bunch as many people together as he can to say, hey, look how many people I brought out to risk their life for me. But, you know, he can mock Biden all he wants. But Joe Biden won Georgia, and you're not going to change it. And if you're so certain, Mr. President, why are we trying to twist the arm of the Secretary of State? And we've got it on tape. So this is pretty pathetic. But as Tim alluded to earlier, what is more pathetic is that millions of Americans are still rooting for him. They still think he's got a shot. And that is a lot of ignorance, man. That's a lot of ignorance out there. I will say this. Okay, let's go back. Let's see. I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, Julie. No, pardon me. That's Barbara says screwball. Who knows? There's been so much screwball stuff played. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, though. But let's see. Wait a minute. One thing she asked there, Barbara, you were asking me to post a link or something, a link to something I ran. Get to me later on Facebook, maybe Messenger, and whatever it is, I'll try to get it to you. Kind of trying to do a show right now, but we'll get it done. I'll try to get it to you. Let's see. Tim says 2016 to 2020 for the USA will not be viewed as America's finest era. Well, that's definitely true. If you look at the way other countries polling across the world, a lot of people are worried about America right now. I even read part of an editorial from an Irish newspaper who said this guy's always felt proud of America and looked to America for guidance. But for the first time in his life, he actually felt pity for America. And man, you're right. This has been one pitiful 4 years with one pitiful president. Let's see. Rick, man, you got a lot to say, but at least you said it all. I don't need the Gettysburg Address, sir, but I guess I'll go ahead and read it. Almost 4 million jobs created since the election. More Americans are now employed than ever recorded in our, you know what? I'm not even going to read. By the way, and if you're going to send me something, make it short. But I'll go with all this stuff. New unemployment claims recently hit a 49-year low. I'm not sure what you're looking at when unemployment is at 14%, okay? Hit African-American unemployment recently achieved its lowest recorded rate ever. And that may well be true, sir, but we still don't like him, okay? We don't like him. Look at the numbers. He actually got double digits with black males this time, and that was an accomplishment. He got a total of 8% of the black vote last time. We don't care, okay? We don't like the man. We don't trust the man. And the man does himself no favors by his constant attack on black cities, which many are dominated by Democrats. You don't think the people that live there are offended by that stuff? Oh, my gosh. Is all this him? Well, I'm deaf. Look, hey, pal, if I read everything, get your own show, okay? Because if you wouldn't believe I don't know if you can see it, but this is crazy. I got stuff to do. I don't have time to read all that. But anyway, this is crazy. But let's see, the quotes by all those people. Let's see, we have more minimum wage jobs now than forever. I know, man. I mean, this garbage, this guy's talking. Look, take your Trump crap somewhere else. Call Ron Verb, call Dan Rivers. They'll eat it up. The simple fact is we've got millions of Americans standing in food lines. We've got a Congress that has had their thumb up their backside for months and thought they did us a favor by sending a $600 stimulus. We've got the unemployment rate is crazy right now. And by the way, why are we where we are? Because we have a president who knew in January how bad COVID-19 was. We have the tapes with Bob Woodward. Yet on the same day that he told Bob Woodward how bad it was, he goes before the American people and says, no big deal. We got a handle on this. So let me just be succinct. Donald Trump is everything that last clip said. He's a liar. He is the only fraud that America is facing right now. He is the sorest loser in presidential history. And the great thing is, you can keep writing these Gettysburg addresses to me, sir. And by the way, as far as our NATO allies, this president has totally offended our NATO allies. The president of the United, Angela Merkel, finds out that we're moving thousands of troops out of Germany via Twitter. He didn't have the courtesy to call one of our closest allies. By the way, 4 days before the presidential election, Madame Tussauds Wax Museum in Berlin, Germany, removed Trump's exhibit literally in a dumpster. So Europe hates us right now, sir. They're waiting for America. This America first. When the world heard that, it's like, America first, screw you. Listen, this is a global economy we live in. We are connected to these people, whether you like it or not. We may need them someday to fight a future war or whatever else. Let's remember that the Pfizer vaccine was not invented here in the United States and took no money from Operation Warp Speed. We may well be the greatest country on the face of the earth, but we can't do it all by ourselves. This standalone Donald Trump mentality has been a failure, and that's why the American people voted him out. And make no mistake, they did vote him out. So you keep writing all your screeds, sir, but on January 20th, it will be morning in America, and the Joe Biden administration will begin, and the Fox News presidency will come to an end. I don't think I even want to play that. I don't have time. We're coming up on it. I want to see if there's one more thing I can look at real quick. We got to play this guy, and we'll close on this. This is, and I'm so glad to see this. We had Brett Baer of Fox News even call out this punk, and I'll call him a punk, this freshman who's going to oppose. He's going to be one of the people who's going to oppose Biden's win tomorrow. Let him have his day. Let them put on their little show. But at the end of the day, it changes nothing. But I'm glad that even Fox News is calling out these phonies now. But this is freshman Senator Josh Hawley. Pardon me, that's Hawley, and he's on Fox News.
I want to pin you down on what you're trying to do. You know, are you trying to say that as of January 20th, that President Trump will be president?
Well, that depends on what happens on Wednesday. I mean, this is why we have the debate.
No, it doesn't. I mean, the states, by the Constitution, say they certify the election. They did certify it. By the Constitution, Congress doesn't have the right to overturn the certification, at least as most experts read it.
Well, Congress is directed under the 12th Amendment to count the electoral votes. There's a statute that dates back to the 1800s, rather, 19th century, that says that there is a right to object, there's a right to be heard, and there's also a certification process.
That's from 1876, Senator, and it's right. the Tilden-Hayes race, in which there were 3 states that did not certify their electors. So Congress was left to come up with this system, this commission, that eventually got to a negotiated grand bargain. But now all of the states have certified their elections as of December 14th. So it doesn't, by constitutional ways, open a door to Congress to overturn that, does it?
Well, no, I'm talking about the statute, Brett. There's a statute that says, that governs what Congress does on January the 6th. and it says that we have a vote of certification and that we have the opportunity to debate the results, to certify the results. We count them and then we certify. And my point is, this is my only opportunity during this process to raise an objection and to be heard. I don't have standing to file lawsuits.
And there we go. Got to get out of here. But so there's their hero. Like I said, and by the way, I do apologize for calling the guy a punk. I don't want to get into Trump territory, but I'll just say this. You know what? By the way, I don't block many people, but block that guy. Like I said, hey, pal, I'm not even reading your junk. I'm just scrolling through it. Like I said, call Rush if he's still alive. Call Ron. Call those people who are buying your BS. Obviously, the majority of the American people didn't. And like I said, you can keep waving your Trump flag all you want, but on January 20th, Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States. And all that garbage you're showing me means nothing to me. And apparently it meant nothing to millions of other Americans. I got to get out of here. I'll see you on Thursday. Take a look at the elections tonight. We may be looking at a golden moment for Democrats if both of these Senate candidates win tonight in Georgia, hopefully, because Mitch McConnell needs to be neutralized because he is a self-described Grim Reaper. He just likes to stand in the way of stuff. A lot of us have had enough obstruction. We want to see something done. I want to thank Mario for doing his usual great job. Stay tuned for Doug and Joe. And I'm Mo Ray saying, as I always say, keep your eyes on the prize.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. If you like our programming, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Facebook page, or subscribe to your favorite podcast platform like iTunes or Spotify. This is original Youngstown content, and we would appreciate you sharing the videos and the word about us. Thank you.
All right, you take it easy.
You too. Make sure.
Okay. I'm even wiping that. Maybe that was a mistake. Okay.